Maria walked down the crowded streets of Brookfield, feeling the crisp morning air brush against her face. The sun had just risen, casting golden light across the tall buildings, and the city felt alive with movement. She held a cup of coffee in her hand, the warm liquid giving her comfort as she enjoyed her morning. Today was an important day for her. After years of hard work and dedication, she had finally been promoted to the position of the city's new police chief. This role was a dream come true, a recognition of her skills, discipline, and ability to lead. Despite her excitement, Maria chose to keep her identity hidden from the public for now. She wore simple clothes, a comfortable jacket, jeans, and sneakers blending easily with the crowd. People passing by would not recognize her as the new chief. She liked this anonymity. It allowed her to observe the city without drawing attention, to understand how citizens felt about the police and how the city moved in its daily rhythm. As Maria approached the main intersection near the city square, she noticed a small crowd gathered near a street vendor. A man had dropped his bag, and some papers were scattered across the pavement. People were leaning over to help, while others were pointing fingers and talking in low voices. Maria slowed down, curious but careful. She wanted to see if anyone needed help, but she did not want to interfere unnecessarily. At that moment, Officer Daniels and Officer Harris were patrolling the area. They had been partners for several years and prided themselves on keeping the streets safe. They were known for being thorough, but sometimes they acted quickly without understanding the full situation. Today their eyes were sharp, scanning the crowd for anything unusual. When they noticed Maria standing near the commotion, they immediately assumed she might be involved. "Hey ma'am, step aside," Officer Daniels said firmly. His voice carried authority, and Maria felt a flicker of surprise. She had encountered many officers during her career, but this sudden approach felt abrupt. Maria smiled politely. "Good morning, officers. Is there a problem here?" Officer Harris moved closer. "We need to check if you are connected to that incident over there." "Step back, please." Maria's eyebrows rose in disbelief. She had done nothing wrong, yet she felt the tension in the air. The officer's tone suggested that they expected resistance. She tried to remain calm. "I am just walking by. I do not want to cause trouble." Despite her words, Officer Daniels reached out, lightly holding her arm to guide her away. Maria instinctively stepped back, her coffee cup trembling slightly in her hand. The crowd around them noticed the sudden interaction, some whispering and others pulling out their phones to record the scene. Maria's heart beat faster. She could feel the weight of the misunderstanding building, but she refused to panic. She had handled challenging situations before, and she knew the importance of staying composed. Before she could explain further, Officer Harris raised his hand in a motion that startled her. Maria flinched, unsure of what was about to happen. Her mind raced. She thought about revealing her position as chief immediately, but something told her to wait. It would be more effective to observe how the officers behaved when they believed they were in control. She wanted to see if fairness and reason could guide them, or if her authority would be needed to teach a lesson in humility and respect. "Please, I am not part of this," Maria said calmly, her voice steady despite the tension. Officer Daniels frowned. "We need to make sure, ma'am. Please cooperate." Maria's eyes scanned the surrounding crowd. Most people were keeping their distance, curious but cautious. She noticed a young boy holding his mother's hand, looking at the scene with wide eyes. A street vendor behind them wiped his hands on his apron, observing silently. Maria felt a pang of sadness. Situations like this could escalate quickly, and she wanted to prevent unnecessary conflict. In that moment, a woman from the crowd stepped forward. "Officer, she did not do anything. She is just walking by," she said, her voice polite but firm. Officer Harris looked at her with a skeptical expression. "We have to be sure. Step aside, please." Maria took a deep breath. She knew that patience was essential. She could not let her emotions take over. She placed her coffee cup carefully on the edge of the sidewalk and lifted her hand slightly to show she was calm. "I understand your duty, officers. I am cooperating," Maria said. Her tone was gentle but confident. She noticed that the officers' expressions softened slightly, though tension still lingered. The crowd began to murmur, some encouraging the officers to calm down, others whispering among themselves. Maria realized that people were already forming opinions based on what they saw. This was a moment that could teach a lesson about assumptions, authority, and respect. Just then, A paper from the man's bag fluttered toward Maria's feet. She bent down and picked it up, handing it to him with a polite smile. "Here, sir. This belongs to you." The man looked grateful. "Thank you so much. You are very kind." Officer Daniels glanced at the man and then at Maria. There was a brief pause, a moment where the tension hung in the air like a fragile thread. Maria felt that if she revealed her identity now, it could end the situation immediately. However, she waited a few more seconds to see how the officers would react. Officer Harris shifted uncomfortably. "Perhaps we acted too quickly," he admitted quietly. Maria nodded. "Sometimes rushing to conclusions can lead to misunderstandings. It is important to observe before acting." The officers exchanged a glance, a silent conversation passing between them. Maria's calm and composed demeanor had started to influence the situation. The crowd around them relaxed slightly, sensing that the interaction was becoming less tense. Then, with a steady voice, Maria finally spoke the words that would change everything. "I am the new police chief of this city." The officers froze, their expressions shifting from authority to shock. Their hands dropped slightly and they stepped back, realizing the weight of their mistake. The crowd gasped softly, some whispering excitedly to one another. Maria's calm eyes met theirs, conveying a mixture of understanding and firmness. This revelation created a wave of surprise and curiosity. The officers realized that their assumptions and quick actions had almost caused a significant embarrassment. Maria's presence and her composed handling of the situation had taught them an immediate lesson about humility and careful judgment. Maria smiled gently, acknowledging the officers' understanding without anger. "Mistakes happen. What matters is how we respond to them," she said, her voice carrying authority and kindness at the same time. The officers nodded, still absorbing the unexpected turn of events. They had learned in a brief moment that respect, patience, and awareness were essential qualities for those who serve the public. Maria, meanwhile, continued her walk, collecting her coffee and adjusting her jacket. She felt satisfied that the day had started with an important lesson, and that her presence could inspire fairness and thoughtful action throughout the city. As Maria moved through the crowd, people began to notice her confidence, her composure, and her quiet authority. Some whispered to one another about the woman who had handled a tense situation with grace and control. The city streets of Brookfield continued their lively rhythm, but Maria's presence left a mark on those who witnessed the encounter. It was only the beginning of her day, but Maria knew that this moment would serve as a reminder for the officers and the community alike. Patience, observation, and clear communication could prevent misunderstandings and strengthen trust. Maria's journey as the new chief had begun in a way that would resonate with everyone involved. She walked forward, ready to face the challenges of the day, confident that her leadership would guide the city with fairness and care. Maria entered the police headquarters with a sense of quiet determination. The large building buzzed with activity. Officers walked briskly through the hallways, answering calls, filing reports, and coordinating with each other. Maria's presence did not go unnoticed. Some officers glanced at her with curiosity, wondering if she was visiting or observing. They did not yet know that she was the new chief. Her office was on the top floor, a space with large windows overlooking the city. Sunlight poured in, illuminating the neat desks and organized shelves. Maria set down her bag and took a deep breath. Today was her first day in charge, and she felt a mixture of excitement and responsibility. She knew that her role was not just about authority, but about building trust, understanding her team, and leading by example. As she reviewed her schedule, her assistant Nina knocked gently on the door. Nina had worked with the previous chief and had agreed to support Maria in her transition. She entered with a warm smile. "Good morning, Chief Maria," Nina said. "The morning briefing will start in 15 minutes. Most of the officers are already gathered." Maria nodded. "Thank you, Nina. Let's make sure everyone feels included and understands our priorities today." Nina left quietly, and Maria took a moment to organize her thoughts. She wanted her first day to set a positive tone. She considered starting with a few words about teamwork, fairness, and serving the city with integrity. These principles were important to her. Soon Maria walked into the briefing room. The officers looked up as she entered, noticing her confident posture and calm expression. There was a brief silence as people tried to place her in their minds. Some guessed she might be the new chief, but most were unsure. Maria smiled politely. "Good morning, everyone," she began. I am Chief Maria, and I will be leading this department. I want to start by thanking each of you for your hard work and dedication. Our city depends on our teamwork and commitment, and I am confident we can achieve great things together. The officers listened attentively. Some nodded while others exchanged quiet whispers. Maria continued, explaining the goals for the day, the importance of communication, and the value of patience and observation. She emphasized that every action reflected on the department and the city as a whole. After the briefing, Maria decided to accompany a patrol team to observe how officers worked in the field. She wanted to see the challenges they faced firsthand and offer guidance where needed. Officer Daniels and Officer Harris, the same officers from the morning incident, were on the patrol shift. Maria noticed a flicker of recognition in their eyes as they realized who she was, but neither spoke immediately. The team moved through the city streets, checking neighborhoods, assisting citizens, and responding to minor incidents. Maria observed quietly, offering suggestions when appropriate and praising officers for their professionalism. Her presence had a calming effect on the team. People who noticed her walking alongside officers often smiled or waved, appreciating the approachability and respect she demonstrated. During the patrol, a call came in about a minor dispute in a local park. Maria and the officers arrived to find two neighbors arguing over a shared garden space. The disagreement had escalated, with voices raised and hands gesturing wildly. Maria stepped forward, her calm demeanor immediately catching attention. "Good morning," she said softly. "Let's take a deep breath and talk about what happened. I want to understand both sides." The neighbors paused, surprised by the gentle approach. One of them, Mrs. Thompson, explained that she felt her plants were being damaged, while Mr. Reynolds insisted that he was only trimming branches. Maria listened carefully, asking questions and clarifying details. She ensured that both parties felt heard and respected. By the end of the conversation, the neighbors had reached an understanding. Mrs. Thompson agreed to mark the garden boundaries more clearly, and Mr. Reynolds promised to be careful in his trimming. Both smiled, thanking Maria for her guidance. The officers looked on, impressed by how effectively she had resolved the situation without conflict. After the park incident, Maria continued the patrol with the team. She noticed small issues that could become bigger problems if ignored, such as a broken streetlight or a minor traffic obstruction. She took notes and coordinated with relevant city departments to address these problems promptly. Her attention to detail and proactive approach inspired the officers to do their best. During a quiet moment, Officer Daniels spoke up. "Chief Maria, I want to apologize for the misunderstanding this morning. We acted too quickly and it was wrong." Maria smiled kindly. "Thank you for acknowledging it. Mistakes happen. What matters is learning from them and moving forward with fairness and respect." Officer Harris nodded in agreement. "We will remember this lesson, Chief. Your guidance is appreciated." Maria continued to observe, offer advice, and support the team throughout the morning. She noticed that some officers were hesitant to speak up, while others had innovative ideas that were often overlooked. She encouraged everyone to share their thoughts, fostering a sense of collaboration and trust. As lunchtime approached, Maria decided to visit the city's community center. She wanted to meet residents and hear their concerns directly. Walking into the center, she was greeted by children playing, volunteers organizing activities, and staff managing various programs. Maria introduced herself and explained her role, listening carefully to the stories and suggestions from the people she met. A young woman, Angela, spoke about safety concerns near a busy intersection. Maria nodded thoughtfully and assured her that she would address the issue. "Your input is important," Maria said. "We need to work together to make our city safe and welcoming for everyone." By the end of her visit, Maria had collected several notes and ideas from the community. She felt encouraged by their willingness to share and participate in improving the city. The officers accompanying her were also inspired, realizing the importance of community engagement beyond routine patrols. Returning to headquarters, Maria reviewed the morning's events and prepared for an afternoon meeting with senior staff. She wanted to discuss strategies for improving communication, training, and community relations. Her approach emphasized listening, learning, and leading with fairness. Throughout the day, Maria's calm and confident presence continued to influence those around her. Officers who were initially unsure about her leadership began to see the value of her guidance. Citizens who interacted with her felt respected and heard. Maria understood that leadership was not about commanding fear or control, but about inspiring trust and cooperation. As the day drew to a close, Maria reflected on her first hours as chief. The morning incident with the officers had been a test of patience, composure, and authority. The patrol had shown her the challenges officers faced and the importance of guiding them with care. The community center visit reminded her that the city's citizens were partners in maintaining safety and harmony. Maria knew that her journey as chief would not always be easy. There would be challenges, misunderstandings, and moments requiring quick thinking, yet she felt confident that with patience, observation, and respect, she could lead the department effectively. Her goal was clear: to create a police force that served with integrity, inspired trust, and fostered positive relationships with the community. As Maria prepared to leave the headquarters for the evening, she felt a sense of accomplishment. The first day had already provided lessons, opportunities, and a glimpse of the potential for growth and change. She looked out the window at the city lights beginning to glow, feeling determined to continue building a stronger, fairer, and more connected community. Maria's first day as chief had begun with a challenge, turned into an opportunity, and ended with hope. She understood that leadership was a journey, not a destination. With every decision, every conversation, and every act of fairness, she could make a difference. The officers had learned, the community had witnessed, and Maria had shown what true leadership looked like. Maria arrived at the police headquarters early the next morning. The city had started buzzing with activity, and she felt ready to face whatever challenges the day might bring. Today, she wanted to focus on improving teamwork among officers and addressing issues that had been reported in different neighborhoods. Her goal was to strengthen communication and ensure the public felt safe and supported. As Maria walked through the main hall, she noticed Officer Daniels and Officer Harris standing near the bulletin board. Their expressions were serious, but they approached her with respect. "Good morning, Chief Maria," Officer Daniels said. "We have a situation that may need your guidance. Several residents reported unusual activity near the old railway station. People are worried, but it is not dangerous. Still, they want a visible presence from the police." Maria nodded. "Thank you for letting me know. Let's treat it as a priority and we will handle it with care. I want to make sure residents feel safe without causing unnecessary alarm." The officers assembled a small patrol team, and Maria joined them. The railway station was an old abandoned place at the edge of the city. It had been closed for years, and people avoided it after dark. Today, the sunlight made it seem less intimidating, but Maria understood why the residents were concerned. As the patrol approached, they noticed a group of teenagers exploring the area. They were laughing, climbing old stairs, and looking around curiously. Maria observed quietly, noticing that no one was acting aggressively or causing damage. "Good morning," Maria called out gently. "I am Chief Maria. Can you tell me what you are doing here?" The teenagers looked startled. A young boy named Leo stepped forward. "We were just exploring, ma'am. We did not mean to cause trouble. We heard stories about this place and we wanted to see it for ourselves." Maria smiled warmly. "It's good to be curious, but this place is not safe for climbing or playing. How about we find a safer place for your exploration?" The teenagers agreed, and Maria suggested a nearby community park where they could safely enjoy their adventure. She also offered to arrange a guided tour of the old railway station with permission from the city. The group's parents were notified and relieved that the situation was handled calmly. Officer Harris looked at Maria with admiration. "You handled that very well, Chief. The kids were curious and you turned it into a positive experience." Maria nodded. "Every situation has an opportunity to teach and guide. We must always remember that our role is to support and protect, not just enforce rules." After returning to the headquarters, Maria reviewed reports about city concerns. She noticed a recurring issue in the downtown area where traffic was often congested, and pedestrians found it difficult to cross safely. Maria decided to visit the location herself to observe firsthand. When she arrived, she saw a mix of cars, bicycles, and people trying to cross the streets. Some drivers were impatient, while pedestrians waited for a break in the traffic. Maria noticed a young woman, Nina, struggling to guide her children safely across the road. Maria approached and offered assistance. "Hello, I am Chief Maria," she said gently. "Let's make sure you and the children cross safely." The woman looked surprised but grateful. "Thank you, Chief. It is always a bit hectic here." Maria guided the family across the street, ensuring they reached the other side safely. She then observed the traffic patterns, taking notes on what could be improved. She planned to discuss solutions with the city planning department and the traffic division of the police department. While walking back, Maria noticed a man struggling to carry groceries. Without hesitation, she stepped forward and offered help. Together, they carried the bags to his home nearby. The man smiled warmly. "You are very kind." "Thank you, Chief," Maria responded with a smile. "Kindness is always a part of service. We must help whenever we can." Returning to the police headquarters, Maria felt the satisfaction of a productive morning. However, the day was far from over. As she entered her office, a message appeared on her screen. It was from the city's Emergency Coordination Center, indicating a potential issue at the local community center where an event for children and families was scheduled. Some equipment had malfunctioned, and there was a risk of minor accidents if not addressed immediately. Maria did not hesitate. She gathered a small team of officers and headed to the community center. Upon arrival, she saw a group of volunteers working quickly to set up the event. Children were arriving with their parents, excited for games, activities, and stories. Maria assessed the situation calmly. "Let's make sure everything is safe," she said to the team. "Check the equipment, organize the space, and guide the children carefully." Officers worked under her guidance, and Maria moved through the center, interacting with volunteers and children. She noticed one child, Sammy, looking nervous about participating in a game involving a small climbing structure. Maria knelt down and spoke gently. "Hi, Sammy, would you like me to show you how it works safely?" Sammy nodded, and Maria demonstrated how to climb carefully, explaining each step. The child followed her instructions confidently, and soon Sammy was laughing with joy. Other children observed and learned, creating a calm and cheerful atmosphere. Meanwhile, some volunteers were unsure how to operate certain equipment. Maria patiently explained the correct steps, showing that safety and enjoyment could go hand in hand. Officers supported her instructions, learning by observing her calm and clear guidance. By the end of the event, the children were smiling, parents were relieved, and the volunteers felt confident that everything had been handled safely. Maria's presence had turned a potential challenge into a smooth and successful experience. As she walked back to her office, Officer Daniels spoke softly. "Chief Maria, you have a remarkable way of managing people. Everyone trusts you, even in tense situations." Maria smiled kindly. "Trust is earned through fairness, understanding, and respect. Leadership is not about power, but about guidance and support." Just as she settled at her desk, a call came in from the city's transport department. There had been a minor accident involving a delivery truck, and the driver was stuck on a narrow street. No one was injured, but the situation was causing traffic delays. Maria coordinated with officers to reach the location quickly. Upon arrival, she assessed the problem calmly. She guided officers on how to redirect traffic, ensured the driver was safe, and helped coordinate the removal of the truck from the street. Citizens passing by noticed the organized approach and expressed appreciation. By the time Maria returned to headquarters, the day had been filled with unexpected challenges. Yet she felt a sense of accomplishment. She had observed, guided, and supported both her officers and the community. She had turned potential problems into opportunities for learning, safety, and positive engagement. Sitting at her desk, Maria reflected on the morning and afternoon. She knew that her role as chief was not just about managing incidents, but about creating a culture of respect, patience, and collaboration. Every interaction mattered, every decision influenced others, and every act of guidance shaped the city's trust in its police force. As the sun set over Brookfield, Maria looked out the window at the streets below. The city was alive with people returning home, children playing, and families gathering. She felt proud of the work done that day, and knew that tomorrow would bring new challenges and opportunities. Her commitment to fairness, observation, and leadership would guide her and her team through every situation, big or small. Maria understood that being a leader required constant learning, patience, and empathy. She was ready to face the next day with the same determination, calmness, and sense of responsibility. The city needed a leader who could inspire trust and respect, and Maria was prepared to be that leader. The next morning, Maria arrived at the police headquarters earlier than usual. She felt prepared for the day, yet she knew that leadership was not just about routine tasks. It was about facing unexpected challenges with calmness and wisdom. Today would test her in ways she had not yet experienced. As she walked through the main hall, Officer Daniels approached her with a serious expression. "Chief Maria, we have a situation that may need your immediate attention. Some citizens reported a group of people blocking the city's main bridge. It is causing traffic delays and frustration, but no one is being violent." Maria nodded. "Thank you for letting me know. Let's handle it carefully. Our goal is to resolve the problem without creating panic or conflict." The officers quickly assembled a small team, and Maria joined them. The bridge was busy, connecting two major parts of the city. Cars were backed up, pedestrians were frustrated, and the group of people in the middle seemed determined to stay. Maria observed calmly as the officers approached, keeping a respectful distance from the group. "Good morning," Maria called out in a gentle, firm voice. "I am Chief Maria. Can we talk about what is happening here?" A man at the front of the group, Mr. Benson, spoke up. "We are protesting because the city has not fixed the lighting on this bridge. It is dangerous, especially for children and seniors. We will not leave until action is promised." Maria listened carefully, acknowledging his concern. "I understand your worries, and safety is very important. Thank you for sharing your perspective. We can work together to find a solution." Some officers looked tense, ready to act, but Maria motioned for them to wait. She knew that rushing into enforcement would escalate the situation. Instead, she walked closer, maintaining calm body language, and spoke to the group in a way that invited dialogue rather than confrontation. "Let us find a safe place to discuss this," she suggested. "I promise to hear each concern, and together we will plan a solution. Everyone's safety is my priority." The group hesitated, but Maria's calm demeanor and respectful approach convinced them to move to a nearby community hall where the discussion could happen safely. Officers guided them gently, ensuring no one felt threatened. Once inside the hall, Maria invited representatives from the group to speak first. She listened attentively, taking notes on each concern. Mr. Benson explained the lighting issue, while others mentioned additional maintenance problems they had noticed in different parts of the bridge. Maria asked questions politely, making sure she understood each problem fully. "Thank you for explaining this," Maria said. "I will coordinate with the city's engineering department immediately. We will plan the repairs and ensure that the bridge is safe for everyone. Your input helps us improve, and it is valuable to the city." The group members looked relieved and impressed. Maria continued, explaining the steps the city and police would take, emphasizing that their voices mattered and that safety was a shared responsibility. She also encouraged them to share any future concerns directly with the police or city officials so that problems could be addressed quickly. Officer Harris whispered to Maria, "Chief, your way of handling this is impressive. You turned a tense situation into a cooperative effort." Maria nodded quietly. Listening and respecting people's concerns is always more powerful than force. Our goal is to build trust and solutions, not fear. After resolving the bridge situation, Maria returned to the headquarters with the patrol team. She spent some time reviewing the morning's events, planning follow-ups, and coordinating with city departments to address the issues raised. Her attention to detail and proactive approach reassured both the officers and the public that the city was in capable hands. As the morning moved on, another situation arose. A report came in about a lost child in a busy shopping area. The child had wandered away from their parents and was becoming anxious. Maria and a team of officers arrived quickly. Maria immediately took charge, speaking to the officers in a calm and organized manner. "We will split into groups. Let's check all entrances and exits and ask store employees if they have seen the child." Within minutes, they located the child near a small cafe, looking scared but unharmed. Maria knelt down and spoke gently. "Hi there, I'm Chief Maria. You are safe now. Let's find your parents together." The child's eyes brightened as officers escorted them safely back to their grateful parents. The family thanked Maria and the team for their prompt action. Maria smiled, knowing that calm leadership could turn fear into relief. By noon, Maria returned to her office for a short break. She reflected on the day so far. She had resolved a tense protest, assisted a lost child, and guided her officers through multiple situations. Leadership, she realized, was about quick thinking, patience, and empathy. Every moment offered a chance to strengthen trust and make a positive impact. As she reviewed her schedule, an urgent message arrived from the city's transportation department. A new concern had arisen. An upcoming festival required crowd management, and several volunteers had pulled out at the last minute. The city needed a plan to ensure safety and order during the event. Maria immediately gathered a team of officers and volunteers. She walked through the festival grounds, observing the setup and identifying potential challenges. Food stalls, stages, and activity areas needed supervision, and large crowds required careful coordination. Maria divided responsibilities, assigning officers to key areas, while also explaining how to communicate effectively with volunteers. She emphasized calmness, clear instructions, and proactive observation. Officers noted her methods, learning how to manage complex situations without causing panic or confusion. One volunteer expressed concern about a large group of children near a busy street. Maria approached and spoke gently to the children, explaining safety rules while keeping the tone friendly. The children listened attentively, following her instructions with enthusiasm. Parents nearby felt reassured, knowing that the event was under careful supervision. Throughout the afternoon, Maria moved through the festival, checking each area, coordinating communication, and ensuring that officers and volunteers worked efficiently. She also encouraged feedback, asking officers and volunteers how they could improve the process for future events. By the evening, the festival ran smoothly. Families enjoyed the activities, children laughed, and the community felt connected and safe. Maria observed the smiles and laughter around her and felt a deep sense of satisfaction. Leadership was not just about authority. It was about creating harmony, building trust, and guiding people toward shared goals. As she returned to the police headquarters, Officer Daniels approached. "Chief Maria, the city has noticed the positive impact of your leadership today. Officers feel more confident, and the community has expressed appreciation for your approach." Maria nodded with a gentle smile. Leadership is not about recognition. It is about ensuring that everyone feels safe, respected, and supported. Today was a reminder that calmness and respect can turn challenges into opportunities. Later that evening, Maria reviewed her notes from the day. She reflected on each situation, the bridge protest, the lost child, the festival, and recognized the patterns of effective leadership: listening, understanding, acting with fairness, and remaining calm under pressure. These principles would guide her as she continued to lead the police department. Maria understood that her role was both a responsibility and an opportunity. Each decision, each interaction, and each moment of guidance shaped the department, strengthened community trust, and made the city a better place. She was ready for the challenges ahead, confident that her approach of fairness, empathy, and proactive action would continue to inspire those around her. As the city lights glowed and the streets became quiet, Maria felt a sense of accomplishment. The day had tested her in many ways, yet she had met each challenge with calmness, thoughtfulness, and care. Leadership was never easy, but Maria knew that by guiding with respect and observation, she could make a real difference. Maria left the headquarters that night feeling proud but humble. She knew that every day would bring new tests, unexpected situations, and opportunities to lead with wisdom. She was ready to face whatever came next with the same determination, empathy, and clarity that had guided her today. The next morning, Maria arrived at the police headquarters with a sense of determination. The city had already started noticing her presence and leadership style. Officers who were initially skeptical were now observing her approach carefully, learning from the calm, respectful way she handled situations. Maria knew that every day was a chance to build trust, strengthen teamwork, and guide her department with integrity. As she walked through the main hall, Officer Daniels and Officer Harris approached her together. "Chief Maria," Officer Daniels began, "we received a report about a small fire in a residential building. No one is hurt, but it could become serious if not handled quickly. We need your guidance on coordinating the response." Maria nodded. "Thank you for the update. Let's move carefully and make sure everyone is safe. Safety is our first priority, and clear communication will prevent mistakes." The officers assembled the necessary team and equipment, and Maria joined them. When they arrived at the building, smoke was visible from a kitchen area, but the residents had already evacuated safely. Firefighters were on site, controlling the situation. Maria quickly assessed the scene and began directing officers to assist the residents. Check on everyone in the building, she instructed calmly. Help them with temporary shelter, comfort them, and provide any assistance they need. Officers followed her guidance efficiently, helping families move to a safe area nearby. Maria spoke gently to each person, asking if they were okay and if they needed anything. Her presence reassured the residents, and the officers felt confident knowing they had clear leadership. Once the situation was under control, Maria turned her attention to the officers. Well done, everyone. Calm observation and clear instructions helped prevent panic and ensured safety. Remember, our role is to guide, support, and protect, not just respond. Later, back at headquarters, Maria reviewed her schedule and prepared for a community meeting. She believed that building trust with citizens was as important as managing internal police operations. The meeting would allow residents to voice concerns, suggest improvements, and ask questions directly. Maria wanted to hear their ideas and show that the police department valued collaboration. When residents arrived, Maria greeted each one warmly, shaking hands and introducing herself. "Good morning," she said. "I am Chief Maria. I want to hear your thoughts, concerns, and ideas. Together, we can make our city safer and better for everyone." A man named Mr. Carter spoke first. "Chief Maria, I appreciate your efforts. In the past, people felt the police were distant, but today we see you actively involved and listening. It makes a difference." Maria smiled. "Thank you. My goal is to ensure every person feels safe and respected. Your feedback helps us improve, and we will act on it responsibly." During the meeting, a woman raised a concern about traffic near schools. Maria listened attentively and asked questions to understand the exact issues. She promised to coordinate with the traffic division and the city council to find solutions. Citizens appreciated her thoughtful approach and clear communication. As the meeting ended, Maria noticed Officer Harris and Officer Daniels watching quietly. They had learned from her example how leadership through respect, observation, and fairness could create cooperation and trust. The officers felt inspired and motivated to continue working in the same way, not just following rules but understanding the people they served. Later in the afternoon, a situation arose that would truly test Maria's authority and the respect she had earned. A reporter from the city newspaper had arrived at headquarters, wanting to interview the officers about recent incidents. The officers felt nervous, unsure how to respond. Maria noticed the tension and calmly addressed everyone. "Remember, honesty and clarity are important. Speak truthfully but maintain professionalism and respect. The goal is to inform the public and build trust, not to create controversy." Officer Daniels nodded and followed Maria's guidance, answering questions with confidence. Officer Harris shared insights about how the department handled the bridge protest, the lost child, and the festival. The reporter was impressed with the officer's professionalism, and Maria's presence had clearly made a positive difference. After the interview, Maria returned to her office to review plans for the week. She knew leadership was ongoing and required attention to both immediate and long-term needs. While she had handled many challenges successfully, she understood that continuous observation, communication, and support were essential to maintain trust and efficiency. As evening approached, an unexpected situation occurred. A group of residents had mistakenly believed that a minor noise complaint would be ignored. They were gathering outside the station to express frustration, unaware that the chief was actively listening and resolving community concerns. Maria noticed the growing crowd from her office window. She decided to address the situation directly. Walking calmly to the front of the building, Maria greeted the group with a warm smile. "Good evening, everyone. I am Chief Maria. I understand you have concerns, and I am here to listen and find solutions with you." The crowd looked surprised but attentive. One resident, Mrs. Lynn, stepped forward. "Chief Maria, we were worried no one would take our complaints seriously. We appreciate that you are here and willing to hear us." Maria nodded. "Your concerns matter. Let's discuss each issue, and I will ensure appropriate actions are taken. Together we can make our community stronger and safer. The residents shared their concerns, ranging from minor traffic issues to neighborhood safety questions. Maria addressed each point patiently, explaining the steps the department would take and encouraging residents to continue communication. By the end of the discussion, the crowd felt reassured and trust in the department had grown. Officer Daniels whispered to Officer Harris, "Chief Maria has turned every challenge into an opportunity to teach, guide, and build respect. It is remarkable to see." Maria overheard and smiled gently. Leadership is not about recognition. It is about ensuring safety, fairness, and trust. Every situation is a chance to learn and improve. By the time the evening settled, Maria had spent hours engaging with citizens, guiding officers, and resolving multiple situations. Her calm, thoughtful, and respectful approach had turned potential conflicts into opportunities for cooperation and understanding. Officers who had doubted themselves or questioned her methods now felt inspired and motivated. The community had witnessed a leader who listened, understood, and acted with fairness. As Maria prepared to leave for the day, Officer Harris approached her. "Chief Maria, I want to thank you. Today we learned more than we could have imagined. Your guidance, patience, and respect have made a lasting impression on all of us." Maria smiled. "Thank you. Leadership is about supporting each other, learning together, and making decisions that help everyone. Your dedication and willingness to listen make this possible." Before leaving headquarters, Maria walked through the hall one last time. Officers nodded respectfully, and some offered words of appreciation. She felt proud, not because of personal recognition, but because the department had grown stronger, more cohesive, and more connected to the community. As she stepped outside, the city lights twinkled, and the streets were calm. Citizens walking home smiled, children waved, and families returned safely after their day. Maria understood that leadership was a journey, not a destination. Every day offered new challenges, new lessons, and new opportunities to guide with integrity and care. Reflecting on her journey, Maria remembered the incident on the street during her first day, when officers had misunderstood her presence. At that moment, she had chosen patience and calm observation, and over time, those choices had created respect, trust, and effective leadership. She smiled, realizing that small moments could have lasting impacts. Maria walked to her car feeling a quiet sense of fulfillment. The city had tested her, and she had responded with fairness, empathy, and clear guidance. Officers had learned the value of observation and communication. Citizens had seen a leader who cared deeply about safety and respect. The police department had grown stronger, and the community had grown more trusting. That night, Maria returned home, tired but content. She knew tomorrow would bring new challenges, yet she felt ready. Leadership was continuous work, requiring attention, patience, and understanding. She had faced tests, unexpected situations, and complex problems, and each time she had acted with calmness and fairness. Her first week as chief had proven that respect was earned not through force but through guidance, integrity, and the ability to listen. Maria reflected on her journey from the street encounter to leading the entire department effectively. She realized that every moment mattered, every decision had consequences, and every act of care could inspire trust. Her role as chief was not about authority alone, but about shaping a department that served the city with fairness, respect, and dedication. As she prepared for bed, Maria felt a quiet sense of purpose. The city was in motion, citizens were safe, and her officers had grown more confident under her guidance. Leadership was about more than decisions. It was about influence, respect, and the ability to inspire others to do their best. Maria knew that she had started something meaningful, and that the lessons learned today would guide the city for years to come.